I'm SuperGirl, and I'm here to save the city. I mean, save a snake. Let's talk SuperGirl. Hey, what's good, comic fans? This is Confire Comics, and we're here to talk about SuperGirl Season 1, Episode 2. I'm Confire Rich.
And I'm Confire Nate, and I'm still debating. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Are there things about this I really like? Are there things about this I want to bash my head in with? Rich, what'd you think?
Well, first, this is a spoiler recap. Last week we didn't do a spoiler review. This week we are going to talk spoilers, so there's your warning. And I like the way this one opened up. I like the training montage that they was doing at the beginning, you know, showing that she needed to work out and they were shooting missiles at her and stuff like that. I like the training montages in movies whether they're a superhero or just a regular person and they're training and they're trying to get better. I like that. I was glad that they kind of opened up with that. I think going with what you're saying with this, do you like it, do you not like it, is they have some good premises with this show that kind of excites you with stuff that you want to see. And one of those on this episode was the mindset of, even though you're a superhero, you still need practice, right? I've never thought about that before. When you see Superman and these other things, well, Batman and some of the other human people aside, when you're an alien and you've got super speed and super strength and all that, you just kind of expect, like, I can go put that fire out. I can go beat these bad guys. I can do all this.
There's a lack of discipline. She needs discipline because, I mean, as they said in the original, you know, she hadn't used her powers in a while. It took her a while to remember how to fly. Everything's kind of sporadic. And she proves that point where she's literally trying to move something and she uses too much strength. You know, all these little small things she's using where she needs to focus it and discipline, something that Superman has done for a long time. Not that we want to keep mentioning him like they do in the show because it's not about him. But something Superman's been able to do, she's not. She's kind of like, I just found out I'm a superhero. I got all these powers. Yay, what am I going to do with them? Oh, I don't know how to control them. So that's kind of the point they're trying to make. She doesn't know how she's doing this. And she tries to help and she messes stuff up. You know, she's trying to move the tanker. She tears the tanker open. Oil everywhere. I mean, she doesn't have any discipline. And they're trying to train her. Love the premise. It's nice. It's a nice little different take on what we've seen in the past. Is like, oh, I'm a superhero, I need to learn.
Well, but even more than just her not being able to control her powers, it's actual knowledge. Like when the dude made a comment about, look, you're bulletproof, so try not to let them shoot you, you know, because they could ricochet and hit other people, right? And so it's more than just walk in there, it's like, oh, shoot at me, now let me take your guns, you can't hurt me. But there's a skill to it. Like even more than just physically, mentally, you need to know how to approach certain situations and what's the best way to diffuse a situation. There could have been other ways for her to put that fire out at that tanker other than just move the boat or blow it out. But because she's not experienced, she didn't know.
It's
and
like,
it took her boss, right? Like the woman you hate, telling her she needed to put some training wheels on, basically.
And I mean, I'm trying to, without sounding like a hypocrite, her lines and her saying it and her acting is actually good in this episode. Like her saying what she needs to say, her playing her part. She's playing her part great. Whether or not when they decided to write the dialogue for this entire show, they spent all the money on the people writing the dialogue for Callista Flockhart's character, and they let the janitor write the dialogue for everyone else. Because it's so awful that I literally want to hit myself in the face. I mean, at one point, as they're talking, I happen to have my phone as I'm watching the show, and I start reading an article about Star Wars and forget I'm watching the show, and then I'm like, oh, crap, I got to go back and watch this because I'm supposed to be doing a review about it. That's how disappointing the dialogue is.
Right.
So I give her credit. Now let's take her dialogue team and let them work on everyone else's dialogue team because she actually did a good job. So,
yeah, she did. She really did. They actually toned her character down. Remember the first recap we did where we said she was way too over the top, like way like in your face, I'm super snooty stuff that's like, okay, that's over the top. She still had those elements, but at least now it's toned back to where it just wasn't as prevalent as it was in the first one. So you got the bad dialogue. During her training montage, I got to bring it up, Supergirl saved the snake. So her training is stopping a bullet in a shotgun and saving a snake out of a tree and stuff like that. I feel like they missed an opportunity there with her training because we go on and there's not a lot I even remember about this. Getting on, like first of all, when they're trying to trap this guy, this other alien, I don't even want to try to pronounce whatever kind of alien this thing is. Looked like the vampire from Blade Trinity.
It looked like the Strain where the whole bottom half of the mouth happens.
Yeah.
Good.
So they have this weak plan, right? These are the special force people to stop aliens, and they have this weak plan to capture them, which is drive down the highway in a tanker where two guys with pistols are driving down the car. They're going to shoot at them. Like, I was like, okay, that was weak. So she gets captured, right? Then she meets her aunt, and she fights. And this is when I realized, Nate, where I feel like the problem is where you're saying you like it, you don't like it. They're forcing way too much, okay? I can handle the terrible special effects, okay? And I mean terrible. For me, they're awful. And I'm not comparing them to movies. I'm comparing them to other TV shows. They're awful. I can handle that, all right? I can even get by that. I can even get by some of the cheddar cheese lines they have in this movie. Not the bad dialogue per se, but the cheesy lines. What I can't handle, all right, is forced story plot and just rushing. They need to slow this show way down and quit shoving so much stuff so fast and unnaturally in these shows. I mean,
I feel like,
to me, that's what I feel.
Unfortunately, I feel like I don't know how they're looking at it, but maybe they're like, listen, we need to force a degree of action because all this dialogue is if all the show was at this point is the god-awful dialogue that they got going on for 45 minutes or however long, minus the commercials, I'm done. Like, I'll tell you that right now. That whole just dialogue would be enough for me just to want to, literally just go to bed. But
what if they focused on that? What if they quit trying to put so much stuff in here as action and storyline and be like, okay, let's focus on the dialogue. What I mean is develop the story more natural. That's going to help the dialogue, right? Like there was a scene where her sister, that she done beat her up. She put the Krypton on, which is another thing I had a problem with when they were training. I can't stand when movies do that. You're fighting somebody that her sister, obviously, even though she's Superwoman, doesn't have training, right? She doesn't know how to fight. She just uses her strength. So she takes her strength away. She's just another regular girl. So her sister goes to beating up on her, and that's her training. And she's talking to her like, you need to use, man, you don't understand that. Like, they missed an opportunity for her to train, to literally train. Like, what if they would have taken this episode and forgot her aunt for a while and developed her more in the back scenes, but just focus on this episode training Supergirl. Like, give us more of her stopping criminals and her mindset as she's going in and approaching stuff and showing her getting better and progressively more dangerous stuff. Like, to me, that would have been more interesting. A lot more interesting.
Like they spent about 5 minutes of her sister flipping her around.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got into a fight with her aunt. Her aunt owned her the whole fight until she remembers, oh, I can use her weight against her, and flips her one time. And then it was like, that was enough. I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, just because the dude stabbed her, I guess if she would have just flown off, she comes back like she's going to do something. Captain Tuvok, that's what he looks like from Voyager, comes down, stabs her with the blade. She freaks out because she's like, I've been stabbed, which I like that premise because you got to remember, these people that came in here, they don't know about, literally Supergirl just found out about kryptonite last week. You know what I'm saying? So the concept of kryptonite, I like that concept. Okay, let's do a story about that now. Okay, let's not have another story about all the crap that was awful in the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the fact that, you know, then you see her talking to the dude. What was this? How did it hurt me? Get it away from me. It's making me sick. Okay, that's cool. Let's talk about kryptonite a little bit. Let's talk about, you know, why all of a sudden now this lady feels threatened. Like, that's interesting to me. And then in the shadows, someone else is there talking to her. So now we know she's not the number one. There's somebody else. Who is it? I don't know. We're going to find out. Some of these parts of the story are really interesting. And then there's some parts that are so awful that I fast forward through. So I don't know if this show is going to be if that's what it's going to be. Now, it's only the second one in. I think they improved from 1 to 2 in little bits and parts, and I think they got worse.
Hopefully.
I can only hope that, because I'm not going to lie to you, the first 5 episodes of Flash for me were good, but it really hit a freaking stride a couple of, 5 or 6 episodes in. It did. It went from literally like every episode, I couldn't wait for the next.
But I was hooked from the first one. Like, I was excited about the first one.
It was something, I was enjoying it from the beginning, but then it hit its stride. I'm not necessarily enjoying this show, but maybe it'll hit a stride where I start to enjoy it.
Yeah. My daughter loves it, if that counts. She's 5. That lets you know
well, I mean, apparently little
where the
kids
shows
are loving
might be
it.
targeted for a younger audience or something. I don't know, because she was freaking out about it. Like, she loves it. I don't love it. So, I don't know. It's got potential, man. We've said this before, and we're going to try to not harp on every single episode as far as that the graphics look bad. We're just kind of get that out of the way now. I think it looks bad. There's problems with it. I just wish they would slow it down. That's all. If they slowed it down and stretched their storytelling out and made me care about these characters so that when her aunt comes down and faces her niece for the first time, there's an actual buildup. Like, you want to see, like, you can't wait. Like, oh my goodness, she's finally going to meet her aunt. How's she going to take this, right? Build it up. They didn't build it up. But anyway, that's our show for today, people. That's how we feel about the show. What do y'all think about, Supergirl? What do y'all think about this show? I mean, the fight scenes, we're not really going to hit on it that much, but they weren't bad. Nate kind of liked them. There was the I-beam battle towards the beginning with some cool stuff. Luckily, she was able to throw her sister around and stuff. It must have come from rescuing that snake in the tree. Probably helped her training out a ton. But anyway.
Yeah, no, the whole like eye off where they're both like shooting each other with the eye. I mean, it was very like Harry Potter, where you got the two wands connected. I like that because I don't know if I've ever seen that before. But
it looked good.
That was like they spent their whole budget on making that not look like crap. And it was also good because at that moment I don't think there was a lot of crappy dialogue. So if you can take that like 3 seconds and
just play it. Just start playing the show on mute. And you get a good show. All right, we're done. We're done bashing Supergirl. Next week, hopefully, it's going to be better. We're going to try to not bash this movie because I know there's people out there who really like this, and we're trying to give our honest opinion here on these recaps. And from now on, we'll try to just focus on what happens with the story and pointing out certain details, maybe characters that you didn't realize would pop in. So thanks for tuning in. Look, you can follow us on Twitter at ComfireRich. You can follow Nate at ComfireNate. Like, comment, subscribe. Help us out. We're trying to get to 100 subs. Until next time, people, we're out.
See ya.